Okay, well, welcome everyone. So what I thought would be fun for us to talk about today, Simon, was what are AI workflows that we can use? Are we using them for the company, for our personal life? So we can talk about, can you actually make ChatGPT a full-time assistant? I put together a little demo to actually see if that works. Should we use it for questioning what we produce? I have a Socratic custom GPT for that. What if this AI is giving us too much information? So we're using like NotebookLM to kind of aggregate and sift through all of our material. Also, when I do reports, like gamma.app. So one of the things I do is I'll do a deep research and then put it into gamma.app and it'll condense it and spit me out a nice presentation.
Excellent. This is what we should be talking about.
And then what I also thought was, in terms of workflows, can we take a high quality item and then make derivatives of it? Finding a framework you're happy with.
Well, I think that's the most important thing. The other thing you said here in the note to me was, can you do it in voice mode?
Yeah.
Because it occurred to me the other day, and I'm so slow at this stuff because clearly this is what a whole bunch of people were working on with like hardware years ago. It's like maybe it'll unshackle us from our screens.
Yeah. Well, exactly, right? Because that's what we. You remember that voice, Sesame? Remember Sesame? It's one of the best voice models out there for just a conversational discussion.
Oh, right. No,
But it's built by the guy who used to run Oculus, and they're making a smart glasses, and that's the voice that's like going to go in your head.
Oculus was that like smart glasses that it was like funded with billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's sure. So one of the other ones I did for fun was because there's that whole conversation. So in terms of like workflows, do you have that creative partner who's going to question what you're doing? Because in other words, is AI making you dumber? When you use AI, is it making you dumber? So I could say, why don't you try, Simon? Why don't you try to give it an idea or a business?
God, oh, it's listening to me now.
Yeah.
What should we be? We're a traditional production-focused agency, creative agency, doing largely digital content. What should we be doing in terms of UGC and delivering UGC content to our clients?
Absolutely. Let's dive into some questions to help you think it through. Clarity and purpose. What's the core purpose behind incorporating UGC into your offerings? Are you aiming to boost engagement, reduce production costs, or meet a specific client demand? What assumptions are you?
All three, I think, because the UGC market's exploding. The content is getting high engagement rates for clients. I feel like a lot of our clients don't realize they need it yet. We need to be ready. We need to be providing that service.
Absolutely. Let's keep questioning to sharpen that thinking. Evidence. What specific evidence do you have that UGC engagement is significantly higher in your target market?
So it'll go through a bunch
Are there
of
case
stuff.
studies or examples from competitors that you can examine more closely? Assumptions. Are you assuming that all your clients will be equally receptive to UGC, or might some need more education and reassurance before they adopt it?
Nice.
What alternatives to UGC have you considered? For example, are there hybrid models where you mix UGC with professionally produced content to ease your clients into the show?
Okay, thanks. So this is a specific custom GPT that's called.
That you made it. It's called.
No, I didn't make this one. I got this one from somewhere. But there was this idea of
Socratic questioning.
Yeah, you could kind of just make this yourself, but there's a framework that's already applied to this that I thought worked quite well.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can show you So if you go into my GPTs, these are all custom GPTs I've either created myself or gotten from somewhere else to try out. So some of these, like my proposal box, we need to talk about my proposal builder. But this is the one here. The thing is a critical thinking assistant whose sole job is to interrogate any content the user supplies: scripts, decks, plans, prompts, code, anything.
Right.
And so it's not going to give you the answers, it's going to interrogate everything you give it.
This is going to question your thinking.
Yes.
Just
question
really,
what you're doing.
really make you drill down and
Yeah.
justify what you're doing.
Yes.
It's just like my wife, really.
Yeah. So this is if you need that, and oh, I didn't think about that, or yeah, that is true. But just that idea that okay, we don't have to just use AI to make ourselves dumber. In fact, we can use it to sort of increase like quality, increase our thinking, that type of thing. So
It was
that's
quite good. It did put me on the spot.
yeah. So that's why it's important, or something we should and can be using. So one of the other things was storage container. Not in any particular order here, but talked about how basically there's so much stuff, right? And so one of the good ways to break that up could be something with like NotebookLM. Let's say I do a bunch of deep research, right? So this is a one I just did for one of the weekly AI sessions, right? So here's all my sources on the left.
Yep.
And it's a lot, right? Each of these is a deep research. So it'd take about 45 minutes or 30 to 45 minutes just to read each one, except for the one from Perplexity, which is a bit less. But then these are sort of like videos I was watching throughout the week.
Yep.
And so basically, I put all this in here. And so 21 sources. I could do mind maps. I could do a podcast overview. I could interrogate it. Where does the information agree with each other? Where does it disconnect? So
you could trying to find the signal amongst the noise, basically.
Yeah,
So there's
and
a lot of noise.
yeah, because AI is great, but sometimes it's just okay, that's so much stuff, right?
Yeah.
So how do that's great, but how do I know that it's accurate, and then how can I actually assimilate it in a way that I can process easier, because I've already got too much on, right? But I do want the knowledge. I do think it's great, and so NotebookLM is a great way to do it, because if you don't know about NotebookLM, for audiences or whatever, it's not going to go online, right? It's going to use its brain plus whatever sources you've given it, so it's less likely to hallucinate and make things up for you. So even here, I do a quick one, right? Points of agreement. It goes through all this stuff, and then specific tools, recommendation, and breakthroughs. Did it give me the points of disagreement? Yeah, points of disconnect and nuance, right? And this is actually quite important, and I think this should lead to another important workflow question, which is how are we also checking these things for accuracy?
Well, this has come up this week because there's some, like, I won't name. There was one of the big 4 accounting firms in Australia did this report for the government. Then it cited all this research, and the researchers have seen the report and said, "Hold on, this is not something I've written." And then they've gone to the publication, and the publication goes, "This doesn't exist." And so the citations are hallucinations, and so clearly, the people who made the report probably paid a lot of money for it too. Were obviously would seem to be using AI in some way shape or form, and didn't check it. Yeah. Which is obviously the critical thing. Use it to help you, but you've got to double check all your sources, obviously, and make sure it's real. The funny thing is, this week I just used this morning I used ChatGPT to fact check some stuff that we'd put out in our newsletter, and it was all fine. But sometimes the sources we're using is it's not top tier media outlets. Occasionally one will slip through, and it's a news outlet I've not ever heard of, and it'll be then its sources will be like a Reuters or Bloomberg or something like that. And so I was just checking to see if it's legit, and there was ChatGPT did a very, very good job of fact checking. I found we're incorporating that into our workflow this week.
So I think I've tried to kind of automate this, and it was a little bit more complex than I anticipated. So a simple way to do it would be you have multiple large language models, right? And you ask it that question, and then you ask the other question, and you ask for what about at least 2 sources for each one, right?
Yeah, and then you get the others to check.
Yeah, and then you get them to check against each other until you keep doing that until there's no disagreement.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good way. I don't remember the exact details, but when I was trying to automate it, like create like an automation through like N8N or make.com or one of these things where you don't actually have to buy credits and APIs where I can just let it run. I'm looking for this thing, run, and then you guys fight it out and give me the output at the end, right? And I'm guessing that this is already going on to some extent inside of these AI programs themselves. But I just remember like the Google AI I/O where they was talking about how it's like going back to check in the deep research stuff. And I think the deep think on deep research for Google probably does this. But there's also that problem where if it thinks too long, it can actually confuse itself. So anyway, this idea, I think for starters, I mean, in terms of workflows, I think right now, you at least if you're going to do this type of deep research thing, you should at least have a second large language model checking it and asking for sources, and then try to,
I think it's like as a workflow, you still have to do the checks. I mean, I don't see any way around that, because otherwise, you're just asking, like if you start adding more LLMs in there and ask them to do the checks, then you're kind of abrogating responsibility. At the end of the day, like whatever you say out there in the world has to be, you're responsible for it. So it does come. I think it does come down to the individual putting the content out to be responsible for checking it.
So try to reduce the errors, but still check it.
Yeah. I mean, to get down to the certainties for a start, and then just I think there's going to be a decreasing role for just like checking sources and stuff like that.
Yeah. On a side note, one thing when I have used deep research to try and analyze what's the AI news for the past week, it's gotten better, but I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it kind of gets what I'm after like 50 to 70% of the time, because sometimes it doesn't quite get the dates right. And lately, I've seen that improve.
Do you feel like it's occasionally just telling you what you want to hear?
No, sometimes it's not giving me enough of what I want to hear. I think that can happen inside of individual chats, but on the deep research, not as much. Because I always tell it to go research, like look at the click-to-view.asia website, make sure it's relevant to me in this field and all this stuff. Yada. So, and I try to give it a large framework. But even then, it still will kind of mess up a bit, I should say.
Yeah.
But regardless, NotebookLM is an amazing resource. If you know the source is good and you want to look at and compare these notes and learn from it, because then you can do audio overviews, video overviews, mind maps.
And it's a sandbox. You can just throw stuff in and know that the sources are limited to what's in there.
Yeah, it's not going to be as creative and make stuff up.
I was using it a lot. Now I'm not using it so much. Maybe that's just because the nature of my work has changed in the last 6 months. But
I mean, I think, for example, like on projects, it can be a good one. It's just that once you put in so many pieces of content, like whether it's emails or that stuff type of thing, and it's secure for us because we're enterprise accounts, then the one thing is you need to know, like, okay, if I put in some meeting notes, is it making sure you put the data in there correctly so it knows that, and the instructions that then if there's anything new that contradicts, that replaces the old.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the things that I told you about before was that just for fun, I was, there's this book, Red Rising, which I really like. It's a sci-fi book. And I put it into O3 at the time, ChatGPT O3, their reasoning model. And I don't really consider O3 a great writer. I consider it, good for like brainstorming and thinking about through things. But when I asked it to put these few pages into a screenplay just to see if it could even handle it, I was really blown away. I was really impressed. It was great. Formatted the right way, and just it sold the right points, like it knew what to put into the screenplay format at the right time, how to start it. So I was really impressed by that. So for me, sometimes, when you think, oh, am I going to create some great piece of content from AI? Well, maybe not. That might have to do with your prompt and how you work with it. But I think there's this level where if you have something that's really high quality and then putting it to the AI and then asking for derivatives of that. Whether it could be different pieces of content, or in this case, like I was saying, the screenplay. I mean, the source is high quality, right? And then it can go into that. So I think that could be a workflow for things.
100%. And you mentioned that you also have a proposal builder workflow.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in that.
Yeah. So I have a custom GPT. It's also I've made it into a Google Gem that can basically start to, as a starting point or prototyping for basically building decks or creating ideas and putting it through a whole process. So let me bring up the guts so you can see inside. So this was my fourth iteration of that. But let me go back 1 minute here, because I think I need to click here first to see inside. Nope. Just give me a second here. I can't remember how to modify them. Oh, I need to press the edit. Yeah. So in here, you've got I've got description of what it is, and these are the instructions. So this is telling it what it is, what it's supposed to be doing, currency, stage 0, what it's looking at. This is basically just getting the brief right.
Yeah.
And it'll stop, and the point is it actually stops and asks me if there's any missing requests or fields, right?
Yeah.
And then once it gets, so literally it'll use the brief template.
Yeah.
So from our company, so it'll check to see if anything's missing. And then it actually goes online and looks for 5 to 7 fresh cultural trends or media trends.
Yeah.
So we know it's current. And then look for the market and cultural context to the brief.
Yeah.
So it's trying to put those pieces together. Then it comes up with 9 ideas. So safe, moderate, creative. Yeah. And so it gives me these 3 ideas for each, and then it makes me choose. I have to choose one from each, right? So I get to choose that. And then once I get that, it gives me the simplified, so it actually builds the treatment after that, stage 4. Yeah. It gives me 45 words and then a detailed version, 350 words. Yeah. But it's great because it's bringing in all that stuff that we've already talked about. There is a bug where it tends to kind of be a bit redundant on some of the KPIs. Like I don't need the KPIs every single time since we've already discussed it once, but that's for another topic. Then it goes into these visual prompts and images. So I've been trying to do it where it actually give it to me inside of the platform, but actually what I do now is what actually works better is actually getting the total prompts. So image prompts, right? So it actually is building me the image prompt. So then I can take that image prompt to, let's say, something like Crea AI, and then I can use different image models to try and get different versions of what I think will look nice.
Yeah.
So you can get kind of a standard one with ChatGPT that typically looks good, but it might not be exciting. Yeah. That's the thing. Or even with Google Gemini now. I haven't tried it with Nano Banana, the new one, but generally speaking, this is the part actually that takes one of the longest to get that.
Yeah. I saw that Nano Banana is sitting inside Gemini now.
Yeah. And then it goes, I can actually build up a timeline pretty well. So I can do this in kind of like an Excel doc, or an inline version, which normally can take quite some time. So it's nice that it can do that. And then it actually can do a budget as well. But this is because it actually has the rate card inside.
All right. So you uploaded the rate card as well as one of the documents.
Yeah. So it knows our rate cards. And then so actually one time I built out a whole job and before I even ran this, and then it did the budget afterwards, and it was only about off $500 from what I had proposed manually. Yeah. Now it doesn't always work that well, but to even have it get that close is quite impressive. This one is sort of like credibilities and benchmarks. This is something that AI kind of created. I can't even remember why, but it's sort of like, I think this is probably because I'm talking about the frameworks for good decks, right? So you need that credibility of why click to view, why is it even a good place to work with. And then for me, the most important part is that I get into Gamma, and so it actually creates the deck, the content for the deck.
Yeah.
And then I can input that into Gamma and actually get that deck output.
Oh wow!
Based on that.
So how long does this process take?
This process without the images will take about 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I just to spit everything out and get the deck going, 30 to 45 minutes. But then to actually get the images the way I want them and then upload them into the deck, that can take a few hours.
And how long would it have taken you before?
May have not ever gotten to it, or days.
Just send a quote.
Yeah, exactly, and that's to me, that's what this is, because I always wanted to be able to like make a nice looking deck and have that like reasoning behind what I'm doing, right?
I think this is interesting because this speaks to the growth in the market prompted by AI. So like what's happening now is you're talking about jobs where you might not have ever done a deck. You would have like taken a brief from a client, so that's fairly simple. How about this? It's going to cost about this. Send a quote, and they say yes or no. Now you're able to just like present different ideas, maybe different budgets.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're taking something that took you 10 hours and squashed it down into an hour. Of course, you could do that when a big thing is needed. But now you're able to give the clients so much more, whereas before they were getting nothing.
Yeah, and I honestly see this as more of a prototyping thing where, I then give it to the creative director or the creative team and like, hey guys, what do you think about this? But it also gives me that sense of like, ownership, I guess, but also creative ownership in the sense of like, hey, here's some ideas that I liked that I think look good.
Yeah,
and because otherwise I literally like a year and a half ago, it was mostly I'm just doing quotes.
So that was the idea I was talking to you about last week. Is about the idea of creating a virtual client now as well, because we can create a very detailed profile within Gemini within the enterprise field. To then you could create this deck and then send it to the virtual client.
Yeah,
and see what their feedback is.
That's interesting.
And then change it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we could just for fun, to see. And I think let me see. One of the things. So I'll show you some of the decks. Give me a second though. I'll try to find a full. So sorry. Let me get ahead of myself. So one of the ways that I process information, I use this thing called gamma.app, which builds decks. It can build docs. It can build socials. But for me, I almost like to use it like sort of like a little bookmaker for myself. Yes, I use it for decks for the company, but also just stuff I'm interested in, I'll put inside the Gamma because I'm very visual, so I like to see those visuals. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, so this is a very deep research run, right? So it's very big.
Yeah.
Big, right? And that's partly because I gave it a really big framework. But now what I can do is I can just go inside of Gamma. Now I have tried to actually do this with gamma.app before. And you can actually use gamma.app as a research tool, right? I can just literally go here and just be like create, and I can go best dog food, right? And it will create this outline, search online. And so for some things it's okay, but I found it not to be very accurate in a lot of other things.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's actually taking so long right now. It is quite quick.
That's because we're up here. It's like I get the slow end of the office.
Okay. So, but anyway, it's nice. Like for so low stakes items, probably quite good. And I can literally just create the deck right here.
Yeah.
Right. But in the way I typically use it, so you saw that I have that deep research, right? So I'll go back to the paste in text. Paste in that giant. Okay, so massive amount of text. Okay. And now I can just do summarize long text. So it's going to essentially do that distillation for me. And, this might not be the best way, but again, sort of this, and let's say I want it to be, I can choose the cards here at the bottom, right? So I'm forcing it to a certain size. Let's just do 15.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's say I want to do photorealistic. I can choose the image model over here. Let's just do ChatGPT since it tends to be very accurate and can do text. And let's just do generate. So immediately I can, and again, I wouldn't necessarily do this way because maybe for something low stakes, but even for like research for the company, when I'm trying to give everyone an AI weekly update, I wouldn't really do this. But anyway, but I still find it more like valuable than, for example, just using Gamma itself. But immediately I've already got this thing that I can share or look at to see if it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way it gets you to that point of editing a deck is really good, because I find when I like the best parts of creating something like this for me are when I'm like figuring out, okay, what my slides are going to be. And that's also the most boring part, because you sort of know what you want to say, but you like break it down, and that's a very AI job to do. But I find when I don't really start really thinking about how it looks until I get the thing to edit it. And that often means that somebody's gone and created the deck for me, and then I'm editing it, and then it goes back to them to change.
Right. No, absolutely, yeah. So like, probably a visual. You're probably a bit more visual as well, because I'm that way too. So that's why I liked seeing the decks. And I mean, I don't like these images here. I would probably use a different image model or something. But the point is that you get this breakdown, you get this structure, you look at what, at least in part, what the whole report is about that you got from the AI deep research, right?
Yeah.
And you can see whether it's relevant or not relevant. And so essentially I can look at this and scan it, and then I could actually go back to NotebookLM. So that's if I put this into NotebookLM, I say, well, does it actually have these parts, or was there, let's say I saw something else about like a video model I wanted to look at.
Yeah, and then you could go, I guess you could get NotebookLM to start giving you prompts for Gamma to edit it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Very cool.
So so this one I do, and I have a lot of decks for a lot of different reasons. And so, for example, just to share with you, I mean, I've got this whole thing like just checking about allulose is a sugar. It's safe. This is some of the social posts.
So it's giving you social posts as
well. Yeah. So you can do social posts. Yeah.
Oh, right. Well.
Okay.
Maybe this is what I needed on the thing I was messaging about the other day.
So if you really want like something you could literally put into socials, or you really want something that's very quick to process visually, you could actually do it in that way. And remember, we did the presentation the other day.
For the board meeting.
Yeah, with Keith.
Yeah.
So this is from our meeting notes.
Oh, so that was from the breakout on Friday, from the training.
So this was our recording.
Yeah.
We literally, and I just put that whole thing in here, and I gave it a certain amount of slides it could work with, and then it goes through the whole presentation.
Oh, wow, that's great. Did you share it with him?
No, I was waiting for the email to come in, then I'd put this, because I think he was going to get back to us with stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the whole...
Fantastic.
And you can see it even has the power pose, so it literally follows the whole hero's journey, it follows the whole thing that we talked about.
That's
You're
very
not
cool.
the hero, the journey structure, the 3x structure.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
So I think in recap, so what we talked about was, can you make ChatGPT a full-time assistant? And the answer is, we'll get back to you, but probably, but do it in voice mode. Question what you produce with AI. It doesn't have to just make you dumber. If you have too much stuff, you could potentially use something like NotebookLM, or you also need to figure out a flow on how to check things.
To your point from last week, one of the interesting things about the AI is you don't take it personally when it questions you. So it's like, whereas if I get questioned from like people in the company or something like that, depending on how I'm feeling, sometimes I'm like, oh really? do I have to answer this? But with the, it's
you're not hurting anyone's feelings or no one's attacking
you also know it's not questioning you to attack you or to like just be nitpicky or anything like that. It's just like it's doing a diligent. It's being very diligent.
Yeah.
Which is one of our company values. So it's like
yeah, absolutely. And cool. we can condense with Gamma.
Gamma's great.
Potentially use AI if you start with a high quality starting point.
I'm going to try using Gamma for social posts, I think.
And then find a framework you're happy with. I think that's what we didn't really talk about, and it's
what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, and I think it's just like, well, how do you want AI to work for your day? It's like grand. Like, how do you want AI to help you during your day? And you could think about the framework; it can help you with that. Like,
I think the framework's really important because I've already tried. As soon as I found out that Gemini in the enterprise suite could like look at my email and look at my calendar, I was like, Gemini, what do I have to do today?
Yeah.
What's this week
just to get started, just to take the overwhelm off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't there yet. It was like it's not. I think there needs to be a bit of back and forth. What I do in the mornings is like I actually do this sort of very analog process of writing down what I need to focus on for the day and in my notebook. And I feel like just thinking about it now, what I should do is take that after I've written it down, I've got like an idea of what I'm supposed to do, then go to Gemini and say, here's what I think I should do today. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then see what comes back. Because it'll probably come back and say, no, you dummy. The kids' swimming is at 4:30 this afternoon. You know that it's every Wednesday. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, you're right. That probably is the best way to do it. To put in that initial sort of brain power and thought into how you want your day.
It's like you say, if it's coming from a high quality place, not to say that what I'm putting down is high quality, but if the quality is there,
it is. The AI doesn't know you better than yourself.
That's true. That's true. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. And then, so I think that's really important. And then, what was I going to say? But the other framework, I guess, is, so you've got that sort of overarching framework of how do you want to use AI throughout your day in ways that are helpful, right? And then there's the individual framework of like, if I'm doing, like when you create custom GPTs or Google Gems, how I engineer the prompt. There was this one guy I was listening to, and to get the prompt the way he wanted, he said he would spend about 7 or 9 hours just iterating, asking why he was getting it that way. It's not the way he wanted it. And then he'd build out these massive prompts. But the thing is, he worked on it, and now he's got this prompt that really works for him and what he wants to accomplish, right?
Yeah. I do feel like that there are going to be... I could never do that. It's like the output would have to be super important to me to spend that so much time on a prompt. But I get it.
It's more like a brain. You got to think of it more as like a brainstorming session.
Yeah. And I guess that if it's a repeatable task.
Yeah, it's repeatable, right?
That has to happen all the time. Then it's super important. Cool.
Right. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Erik.